I'm good, bro. I got full coverage insurance. I'm sure you've heard that before. Let me tell you why full coverage insurance is absolute bull. Hi, I'm Attorney Ali Awad, and today I'm going to tell you exactly what to look for when buying a car insurance policy. Most people think that there's just liability coverage and full coverage. The fact is, there is no such thing as full coverage insurance. So get that out of your mind. Liability is the main type of insurance that people look for when they're trying to buy the minimum coverage for the state in which they reside. For instance, in the state of Georgia, that's $25,000 in bodily injury protection and property damage protection. So let's talk about that a little bit. Bodily injury is simply what it says, the injury that happens to your body as a result of an accident. Property damage relates to everything else that is not your body. Your car, your phone that got damaged inside the vehicle, your laptop, if you had a laptop bag in the back of it. The property damage, the $25,000 in coverage that you have on that insurance policy protects all of the property damage done to your vehicle and everything inside the vehicle. I've even had a case where someone ruined their glasses. They had a couple of $400 glasses and they got shattered when they were rear-ended. That property damage insurance covered those glasses for the full $400. But what happens when someone rear-ends you and they only have liability coverage and you have more than $25,000 worth of damages? If you only have liability insurance and don't have something called uninsured motorist coverage or underinsured motorist coverage, then you will have to come out of pocket for those injuries. Here's an example. You're stopped at the traffic light, just hanging out, chilling, no big deal, right? Boom! You get rear-ended. You immediately get rushed to the emergency room via ambulance. The ambulance rides these days are anywhere between $700 to $1,200. I know that because I see them every single day, and they don't like to negotiate those bills. Once you get to the emergency room, the doctor or the nurse is going to check you out and say, oh man, you need a CT scan. Before you know it, you have $40,000 in medical bills from the emergency room. But the person that hits you only has $25,000 of coverage. So what happens when there's $40,000 in medical bills and only $25,000 in coverage? That $15,000 is going to get paid by you out of pocket. But how do you protect yourself from that? You buy what's called uninsured motorist coverage. Now, uninsured motorist and underinsured motorist are usually called UM or UIM coverage. For the purpose of this video, we're only going to call them UM coverage. Now, when we think of full coverage insurance, what we're really thinking about is comprehensive and collision coverage, which just means that if you get in a car accident and it's your fault, your insurance is going to cover the damages of your vehicle. But that doesn't mean that they will cover your bodily injury. And that's really where the real damage is. Let me give you an example. You're driving on the interstate and there's a big microwave in the middle of the street. I'm giving you this example because I've had a case exactly like this happen to me. You swerve out of the way and you hit someone else, right? Whose fault is it? Well, the insurance company is going to say, oh, well, it's definitely not the guy that was driving straight and had nothing to do with it. It's more likely your fault because you swerved out of the way. You should have seen that microwave in the road. Your insurance company is going to say, no, 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 no. It's the person who dropped the microwave in the middle of the road. But guess what? That person is nowhere to be found. So it ends up going on your car insurance. And if you don't have comprehensive and collision coverage, then your car is not going to get fixed, repaired, replaced, or reimbursed for any of the damages from your insurance company. As a personal injury attorney, I find that one of the most interesting parts of a car insurance policy is the medical payments coverage. Medical payments is a type of coverage that applies to your medical bills whether or not the accident was your fault. So think about this, that same situation where you were driving in the middle of the road and you see this microwave and you swerve out of the way, you hit someone else, oh, you have some back pain, some neck pain, you go to the emergency room, but guess what? In that situation, it doesn't matter whether you have liability, comprehensive and collision, car rental, none of that stuff matters. The only type of coverage that is going to protect you when you are in an accident that is your fault is medical payments coverage. That is the only type of coverage that will protect you for your bodily injury. So we've got liability coverage, coverage, comprehensive and collision, and finally medical payments coverage. One of the things that I find most interesting though is that you can get a different type of coverage for each. Meaning, for liability, instead of getting $25,000 in coverage, you can get $50,000 in coverage. So when you're purchasing liability coverage or coverage, you will see a small slash, right? There'll be a 25/50. And what that means is that the insurance company is going to provide $25,000 of coverage per person or $50,000 per accident. The most common numbers for these types of insurance policies are 25/50, $25,000 per person, $50,000 per accident, or 50/100, $50,000 per person and $100,000 per accident, or 100/300, where it's $100,000 of bodily injury coverage per person, $300,000 of coverage per accident. But one of the things that I want you to keep in mind is that when you're shopping for this type of insurance, keep in mind that there is also something called resident relative coverage, where if you live with a relative in the same household that is either a brother, cousin, spouse, a close relative, you can tap into their uninsured motorist policy as well. That's something that a lot of people don't know about, and it's the law here in Georgia. So whenever you're involved in a car accident, and let's say, for example, the person that hits you doesn't have insurance. You don't have uninsured motorist coverage. But your sister, who's in college at the time and purchased a $100,000 policy, guess what? You can tap into that just because you live in the same household and are a relative. That is the resident relative rule explained. And it falls under the uninsured motorist part of your insurance policy. If you have any questions about how your car insurance can apply in your car accident, feel free to message me, snap me, Instagram me. I'm always going to be available at CEO Lawyer. Once again, my name is Ali Awad. Take care, guys.